Information discussed in this podcast may be sensitive in nature to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
To many people, Hawaii is the island of dreams. The beautiful, lush scenery from mountains to beaches, the myriad of hiking trails, and the relaxed culture. But the island holds its secrets too. According to NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, Hawaii sees about 150 missing person cases every year. And we've talked about a few of them here. Daniel Lambertson, Kimberly Day Jacobs, and Laura Vogel. All three of those cases remain unsolved. The island makes it difficult to search for a missing person. There are so many ways on and off the islands, and there are several islands, 137 technically. In the fall of 2022, however, something strange happened. An entire family disappeared, a mom and her two young boys. It's possible that they wanted to disappear, and if that's the case, authorities only need to know that they are okay. There are two young boys at the center of this story, and extended family and law enforcement are concerned for their safety. Abigail Bernstein and her two boys, Koa Kai and Kush, allegedly boarded a boat from the island of Oahu and were never seen again. The clues that emerged regarding their whereabouts are suspicious, to say the least, but the family remains missing. Where are Abigail, Koa Kai, and Kush? Hello, and welcome to a bonus episode of the Where Are They podcast. This case will take us to the beautiful island paradise of Oahu, Hawaii. Oahu has a population of around 1 million permanent residents and welcomes over 5 million tourists every year. In 2022, Abigail Bernstein was living in Oahu with her two young sons, Koa Kai and Kush. They lived a nomadic lifestyle and they valued their independence and freedom. The boys, aged 7 and 9, were not enrolled in any school. Now, it's not clear what Abigail was doing in regards for their education, but we do know that they were not enrolled in any school, public, private, or online. Abigail didn't have a troubled history, not really. She was arrested once for illegal camping near a beach, but that's really all. She did have a couple of volatile relationships in her past with men, including her boy's father, Vander Nelson, and on a couple of occasions had obtained restraining orders. By 2022, however, Nelson had returned to the mainland United States and the restraining order was dropped. Abigail's parents resided on the island of Maui, but Abigail had cut off communication with her family. Details regarding that situation are unclear. On October 12, 2022, Abigail and her boys boarded a boat in the Alawai Boat Harbor in Honolulu. Now, there are different stories as to how this came about. First, it was said that she met a man online and she went to this boat harbor to meet up with this man. It's also reported that she went and got on this boat to work for the captain and took her boys with her. It's possible that both are true, yet some wonder if the man that she was going to meet is a different man than the captain of the boat, and if so, his identity has never been released. Because of her nomadic lifestyle and perhaps the estranged situation with her family, Abigail and the boys weren't noticed to be missing for quite some time. It was noticed almost immediately, however, that her social media posting, which had been daily, at least over on Instagram, it completely stopped. She had also turned off her cell phone sometime in November of 2022. Now, it's never said if she purposefully turned off her cell phone or if she just stopped paying the bill, but for whatever reason, her phone was shut off November 2022. Interestingly, this boat trip was supposed to be a year-long venture, but in March of 2023, someone reported the captain of the boat missing, which is interesting to me because if the boat had left in October of 2022, March of 2023 is only 6 months later. He was going to be gone for a year. Why would he be reported missing after only 6 months? Yet, for some reason, the captain was reported missing and a Coast Guard alert for him and his boat was put out. The captain would be identified later as Donald Stephen Lang, and he did return to the boat harbor in Oahu in October of 2023, which is exactly 1 year after he left, and his missing person alert was canceled. However, when he did return, Abigail and her boys were not on the boat. Now, by this time, Abigail and the boys had also now been officially listed as missing. It's unclear if that was from the boys' father, perhaps, or maybe Abigail's family, but they were known to be missing. And so when they didn't get off this boat, everyone was alarmed. This was their last hope of where Abigail and the boys were. If they weren't on the boat, where were they? Regardless, Abigail and the boys did not return to Oahu with the captain as they had planned, or as everyone believed the plan was. When the captain was questioned regarding this, he stated that the family had disembarked the boat at some point during their trip because they had been struggling with seasickness. Now, immediately, everybody questions this theory. The boys have been raised around the water, and if you look at Abigail's social media, there's tons of pictures and videos of them in the water and on boats. No one had ever heard of any of them suffering from any seasickness issues in the past. Now, not to say that it didn't happen, but it was a theory that was questioned. Needless to say, the captain immediately became a person of interest and refused to take a polygraph test. Much of the investigation itself has been kept under wraps, and in fact, the case was never even made public until 2024, when the FBI, who was now handling the investigation, came forward to seek out new leads. They did state that the boy's father and the ex with whom Abigail had a restraining order against at one time had been very cooperative with authorities. Law enforcement has not said the same about Captain Donald Stephen Lang, the boat captain, but to be fair, they haven't said much of anything about him at all, positive or negative, about his potential involvement. They have labeled him a person of interest, indicating not necessarily that he's a suspect, but that they believe he might know more than he's saying. Lang did go on to share on TikTok that he had been at sea for a year intentionally, something he had planned on, describing the journey as a chance to escape media noise and just be out and enjoy nature. Many wondered if maybe he was assisting Abigail in disappearing at her own request. Still others wonder if he could have harmed the family in some way. The odd thing to me is that he seems to have avoided answering any questions at all about the family, such as where they disembarked or where they may have been going, or if they had contacted anyone else. Abigail didn't have a cell phone anymore. Did she use any other means of communication while on the boat to make plans or reach out to someone? All of this seems to be a big question mark without Captain Lang speaking up about it. Another interesting tidbit of information regarding the boat captain that certainly does raise some additional red flags. In April of 2025, he was charged with 3 counts of lewd sexual acts with a minor under the age of 18. This, of course, doesn't implicate him in Abigail, Koa, and Cush's disappearances, but it certainly might give us a glimpse into what kind of person the captain is. While it is very possible that Abigail did choose to disappear, because there are 2 minors involved, authorities need to guarantee their welfare. They have also said they cannot rule out foul play at this time either. It truly does seem to me as if both theories are very likely possibilities in this case, at least with the little information we do know. We also don't know exactly where the boat traveled to in that 1 year time frame, from October of 2022 to October of 2023. I'd like to believe the FBI does have that information and might have investigated any areas where the boat might have been docked for any length of time during that 1 year. Authorities are still being very cautious and guarded as to what information they are releasing, whether they have more information or not. But they have stated that Abigail did have some ties to Naples, Florida, Petoskey, Michigan, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and California. But that's about it. All in all, we have very little information on this case. But still, a mom and her 2 boys have been missing now for almost 2 years as of the recording of this. As mentioned, there are 2 main thoughts on their case. First, they left willingly to start over and continue their nomadic lifestyle elsewhere, perhaps with the boat captain's help, and maybe that is why he is keeping quiet. Maybe she asked him to. Abigail was known to be nomadic, to be a drifter, to kind of be a free spirit. If anyone is the type of person to want to go off and start fresh somewhere else, it probably would be someone like Abigail. Or the other main thought in her case is foul play. Did the family meet with foul play somewhere along their journey? Perhaps involving the boat captain, or perhaps not involving the boat captain at all. Of course, this is another one of those cases where I'm really not sure what to think on this one, but I'm very curious to know your thoughts. Where are Abigail, Koa Kai, and Cush Bernstein? Abigail is described as a Caucasian woman standing about 6 foot 2 inches tall and weighing around 130 pounds when she was last seen in October of 2022. She has long brown hair and brown eyes. She was 32 years old at that time. I do want to note that I did do as much checking as I could on her missing person files. Most have her listed as 6 foot 2, and she looks tall and thin in her photos. But the Charlie Project and a couple other flyers have her listed as 5 foot 3. If I'm going to guess, just based on the photos, she looks closer to 6 foot 2, and that is what NamUs has in their missing person file. Koa Kai is the oldest boy, born in January of 2013. He was just 9 years old when he disappeared. Koa, at that time, was 5 foot 1 and weighed around 80 pounds. He wore his straight brown hair long. Cush is the younger boy, born in November of 2015. He was only 7 years old when he was last seen. He was about 4 foot 5 inches tall, and he weighed around 80 pounds. He also wore his hair longer. Anyone with any information at all on this family is asked to call the Federal Bureau of Investigation at 808-673-2719. This truly is a bizarre story. The ideal ending, of course, would be Abigail coming forward stating that everyone is fine. They just wanted to go off grid, or they just wanted to go somewhere new, somewhere different. But of course, as more time goes by, that ending seems less and less likely, but still possible. There has been a TikTok account set up to help raise awareness and maybe generate new leads in their case. You can find that on TikTok at Bring Abigail Home. It appears to be set up and monitored by family members, so hopefully you get accurate information, up-to-date information, and you can see some good photos of the family as well. Thank you so much for listening to Abigail, Cush, and Koa's stories today. I'll be keeping a close eye on this one for sure for any updates at all. Let's keep hoping that there is a good answer and resolution soon. And Abigail, if you and the boys are out there and you're okay, please find a way to just let someone know. We will be back again very soon with another unsolved missing person story. And until then, stay safe and hug your loved ones.